Kia ora everyone. Today I'm not only going to go over my trades, but also the mindset I had in taking some of my trades, especially one where it didn't go my way, and how that mindset affected my decision making while I was managing that trade. So when I sat down this morning around 7 o'clock, there was nothing moving. It was just all penny stocks. They were up around 20%. Nothing really for me to trade. So basically I had to sit there and wait and be patient for the right stock to pop up. And you know, there was actually another stock on the scanner as well, on my continuation scanner, RGC, and that had made a huge move the day before, and then in after hours it actually made another massive move. I'll bring that up actually, just have a look here. So this is RGC here, and yeah, yesterday it went up from around $12.93 and here up to about $18, $19, so made a huge move. And then after hours it went up from about $19 all the way up to a high of 35. So put in a huge move in there in after hours. Just massive. So really good move. But when I sat down around 7 o'clock, it was around, where was it? Well, around quarter to 7 I sat down. So it was around $26, $27. Came up to the VWAP and broke VWAP. And then was sitting around $28. I didn't trade this at all. I looked at that and I saw that it had massive spreads on it. So it was, it had 50 cent to $1.50 spreads. So huge risk for me to take a trade on that. Getting in and being $1 down already, that's not good risk management for me. Too much risk and not enough reward really. Well, it's probably a lot of reward there if you get it right, but that's the thing, isn't it? So for me to manage my risk, that was a stock I just wasn't going to touch. It was also quite expensive, being over $25. That's a bit out of my price range really. So I generally want to trade stocks between $2 and $20 is sort of my maximum. And it didn't meet my stock criteria, so I left that one alone. It was great to see it do a massive move though, and even today it's pushed back up, to 32 from, low of $20 during the open session. So yeah, great moves. So today for me was really sticking to my strategy, looking for the right type of stocks that met my criteria. So up above 10% on the gapper, a low float, so under 10 million on the float, and has news, a catalyst at least, something that's going to drive it up. So that's sort of the rough criteria that I have for my stocks. And so I just wanted to keep my green days going. I've had 4 green days in a row now, so I'd like to keep that momentum going to the end of the month and further if possible. But that'll help build my account up and grow my account. And once I've grown my account, then I can start taking a little bit more risk and increasing my share size, and and then increase my profits as well. So, but in the meantime, it's all about consistency, getting solid green days in, making those base hits, and just growing my account. So the first trade I took, I was trying to be patient. I was trying to wait for a stock to pop up, and I kind of saw QBTS on my scanner, continuation scanner, or my watch list that I have, and I decided to take a trade on it as it was curling back up. So if I bring that up on here, QBTS. We'll try and get that right. There we go, QBTS. So if I look at this on my scanner here, where was this? I think it was around 7 o'clock. Just have a quick look what time that was. 6:52. Gee, I wasn't patient at all, really. So around 6:52, around this area here. Yep. So it had been up at the VWAP, it had pulled all the way back and it was curling back up. I saw it when it hit $11 and it pulled back off the whole dollar and I entered around here for the breakthrough of $11. So I entered around here on this candle, on this pullback, and it pushed to 11 and it just couldn't break 11. And I ended up stopping out around, I think at this level here. Yeah, so probably should have waited for confirmation on this one so that it was actually looking strong and had some strength to push through the whole dollar. It didn't do that on that first trade. So my first trade of the day was actually red. It's only, what was I down? It was only $14. Yeah, so if I look here, yeah, so I'd gotten in on that pullback. It had come down a little bit further. I got in on the green, and I mean, I possibly could have taken it when it hit 11, and I possibly could have held a bit longer down here, but it wasn't going. I'd already been in the trade for 10 minutes, and it just wasn't working. So I took my exit out of that trade, and even though I thought there was a possibility of it pushing higher, I think it did it push higher? No, it didn't. Look, it just tanked all the way down there. So good decision to actually get out on that candle there, or possibly there, before it completely tanked. So that was my first trade on QBTS. Just going to have a look to see if I've actually... Yeah, so I've traded this on the 14th of March, 17th of March and the 18th of March. I took that last trade. So overall, I'm actually up on that stock, $76, and traded around 2,100 shares, 2,100 shares. But my last trade on it was a red $14. So yeah, let's go back to here. So my next trade, which is the one I should have really waited for, was ADTX, and that popped up around 7:30. ADTX here, I'll have a look on ADTX. Yep. So pre-market, this popped up around 7:22, and it basically pushed all the way up from 420 to around 620, and then reversed pretty much all the way back down. Started holding here just below the VWAP here, and it did hold and then started pushing back up. And in this area here where it started coming back up, that's where I saw it coming into the scanner as it sort of broke over 540, 550. So it's when the volume had started coming back in, and it started pushing higher. So I took my first trade on ADTX. Actually, I can bring up the video here. Oh, that was my trade on QBTS. So if I rip forward here to ADTX, where are we? ADTX, oh yep, here we go. Yeah, so this is where I saw it first popping up here. And this was a good entry here, around $5.50, the $0.50, but I missed this. I wasn't quite ready to take that trade. Oh no, here we go, I did jump in there. That's right, it was down here that I missed. So this is my first trade here. Jumped in around $5.50. And then, because it was quite choppy, I just took my exit pretty quickly. The problem with this stock is it had that big, massive red candle, and I did not want to get caught in a flush. So I was trying to time my entry here to get a low, and there we go. So it's pushed lower, it's come back down, and I'm in there. Yep, entered the trade there at around $5.50 again. $5.50, that one's probably $5.50, yeah. Then it had a good push. I didn't get filled at the top there, and then I quickly sold again. Cancelled my order and then quickly sold again on the bid. Yeah, the first order I put in is a sell order on the ask, and I'm hoping that the stock will push up into the ask and I'll get filled at that price. But if it misses, then I quickly cancel my order and then take my exit on a different key. Probably could have left it there and it possibly would have pushed back up, but sometimes it's better to hit that key a bit earlier than later. So that was my second trade. Then my third trade here, I'm looking at getting in at around 560. That's pulling back. Yeah, so I'm not really holding along for a long time. So when I'm taking these trades, I'm really getting in and out really quickly and just getting my base hits. So I'm just trying to get, 15 cents a share out of the market each trade. I'm not buying in and then holding and holding and holding until it reverses. Especially on this stock because it had that big red candle and the possibility of flushing. It did actually do a lot of jackknife over the day, I think, over the trading session, pre-market and into the open session. So, it was just part of my risk management to be in and out quickly, take some quick scalps, and walk away with my profit. So that was sort of my mindset on this one here. It's not to hold and see how long it went. It was to get in at a pullback, nice and low, and then as it pushes higher, take my profit pretty much straight away. So I kind of missed my entries here at 560, and it's pulling back a bit harder now. And yeah, so it's had a big pullback here. It's probably not a bad entry, but At this stage, the MACD's also closing. So this is an indicator for me that it's possibly not a good time to take a trade. It's probably time just to sit back and watch. But it looks like it's going to have some strength and come back. So I took the dip expecting it to push away from the MACD and open up again. So it's pushing back up. Does it break through that level there? Yes. Broke through that previous candle, and I took a quick exit there because the volume just wasn't coming in. Down here on the candle here, there wasn't enough volume coming in for me to hold into that trade. So I exited pretty quickly when I didn't see any volume coming in. And I think that was the last trade during that time. Let's have a quick check. Yeah, so I had one a little bit later. So I'll just that forward 7. Yeah, so it's about 5 minutes later. I'll just scrub that forward a bit. Yeah, I'm trying to get in here, but I should really be buying on the ask and not trying to get in on the low. I keep missing my entries. So I do eventually get in here, but it's a bit late in the piece. Thinking it might push higher over 612. Probably does actually. Anyway. In there. Once again, it's a bit slower volume coming in. The volume's just not coming in quick enough. And pops there, but I'm out there. Didn't like the look of that. Probably a bit worried it's going to reverse on me and flush. Did actually push a bit further. But I think that was, yeah, so you can see it started pulling back down. So that last trade, I got in at 5.93 and out at 5.99. I only made about 5 cents on that trade there. And then I traded it later on. Where am I? So I traded it here. So this trade here, it had pulled all the way back. Actually, this was the other trade I took on SCNX. Yeah, SCNX, I took a trade on that as well. Not a great trade. I got in at the high. It had started pulling away, popped up around, what's that, around 8 o'clock. Had some news, had an FDA approval on one of its products that it's developed. I got in here at the top on a pullback, looking for it to come up and break through the previous high. Yeah, it didn't. It just went into consolidation a bit, and I was like, nah, I'm out, leaving that alone. And yeah, then it pulled away, I think, pulled back off that high. Then I came back to ADTX and it had dropped from its high of 620, 610, I think it made it to, and then pulled back here to below the VWAP and then was pushing back to the VWAP, and I thought, I'm going to take the break. I'm going to get in for the break of the VWAP. So it broke here, it sort of pulled back. Not a great volume profile, but I jumped in here for the break, and I'm just going to speed this up a bit. I'm going to go 2 times, maybe 3, 5 times. Yeah, and it just wasn't pushing. And then it pulled back, and I was like, oh, should I stop out? It's going to go. And then it sort of just did this dip, and then got bought up. So I stayed in the trade. And I thought, nah, it's getting bought up. I will hold this, and it'll eventually come back and break VWAP. And then I thought, well, I'm going to get in at a low and average down. So I was pretty confident that this would work. So this is not really a good risk management. Good risk management would have been to have sold that position at my stop loss, which is around this level here, but I averaged down instead. And it's buying up. You can see there's bottoming tails, so it's being bought up, but then it just drops. And this was a bit scary for me because it drops down to basically all my profit that I'd made previously on the day. I was up $77 at the moment. So here is what I've realized for the day. So I am now unrealized 55, and then it drops all the way down to 79. So yeah, so basically I am now looking at possibly wiping out my entire profit for the day in one trade. So this is not good risk management on my behalf. I'm still confident that it'll come back up, but by this time my mindset's really gone from I'm positive about my trade to I'm really negative and I need to get out of this trade and make sure I lock up some profit. So I've put a sell order in there at 564 for 200 shares. It fills straight away. And then I took another order, punched another order for 200 shares straight away at 568. And really, if I'd been in a positive mind frame, that showed great strength popping up through the VWAP there. There was a lot of volume that had come in. Volume had just come in on the green, and it made a big push through the VWAP, and look at it now. Now it's pushing up and pushing back up to the highs. It's gone over 50 cents a share from 540, to $6. And I've panic sold at 560, I think it was 564 and 568. So, really, if I had been patient and just stopped out of that first trade and waited for the low and the push back up, I would have been in more positive mind frame to have kept holding that through the break of the VWAP and then made more profit on that trade by holding through to, for it to break higher over the VWAP and be in that upward momentum, not being caught out with it dropping and then reversing and coming back up. So really didn't control my emotions there and didn't really think about what was happening at the time. So those were I still made a profit though on that, and that brought me up to $107 in profit on the day. So not too bad. Right, let's have a look here. So those were my last trades on ADTX. My last trade of the day was on SCNX, and I made $27 on that, so 14 cents a share on that trade. If I jump back into the video here, where am I? This one. Oh, actually, what time was that? That was at 8:52. Here. Yeah. So I tend to like the trades where around the VWAP, either it's just below looking to break through VWAP, or coming back down to the VWAP and taking it as a trade off support there, depending on the stock and how it's moved obviously as well. But SCNX had come up, hit the VWAP, was pulling back, and this is probably how I should have traded the last trade with ADTX. I should have seen it coming up to break and then waited for it to either confirm breaking properly and waiting for the pullback and the retest of the VWAP. So this is what happens with SCNX, yep. It's pulling back. I look at taking my entry around 290, 291. It's showing some green on the tape, but I put my order in at 291, and I'm going to speed this up. So comes back down, fills me there, does push a little bit lower, but then pushes back up. Now, why did I take it there? I took it there because it had some support at that level prior, and you can see on the 5-minute chart here, it sort of had some support there, and it's been at that level prior. So yeah, and as it pushed through the VWAP, I took my exit pretty quickly, got my 14-15 cents, and I was out. I was thinking about taking another trade here and looking at to push higher, but by this stage I was up $135 profit, and I was pushing into 9 o'clock, so that was pretty much it for me. Yeah, and it was just choppy through here, and I didn't want to trade this, so I just left that alone. Yeah, so just going to have a look to see if I've actually traded those before. ADTX. All right. So I have traded ADTX prior, back in December 2023 and April 2023, and lost on all of those. So I've actually brought that ticker back into the green, $70.63. What about SCNX? SCNX, I don't think I've traded that before. Oh, I've traded that on the 6th of March as well. And green on that ticker, so not bad. So if I have a look at my stats for today, 9 trades total, 8 in the green. 8 in the green there, 1 red trade, and 89% accuracy, and a risk reward of 1.13. So that one there for me is been really important lately to get that up, and keeping that consistently above 1 will mean that my profit will be much better, and also it means it'll pay less fees if I'm taking, under 10 trades, and if my accuracy stays above 60%, that's where I want to keep it. Don't know if I'll be able to keep it up around 80-90% though, but I'll try. But I think more likely I usually average around 60-65% accuracy. So my average winner today was $18.52 and my average loser was $14.11. Only one of those, so that was good. And it walked away with a gross profit of $135. So if I have a quick look at my P&L for the month, two read days this month. My P&L curve here is looking much better. Had a couple dips, decent dips, but it's pulling away now, and that's how I sort of want to keep it going. So another solid session today and another green day. I really want to be consistent with my trading and keep those green days going. Just making base hits and growing my account, and eventually probably increase my share size and look to make more profit instead of just base hits. But until my account can sort of handle that, I'll just keep plugging away, keep grinding away, and getting those green days under my belt. Hopefully I'll stay green until the end of March. That's my first goal anyway, and after that we'll see how that goes. So let me know in the comments how many green days you've had in a row. Have you had a massively long green streak, or do you tend to have a few green days and then a red day? Don't forget to stay disciplined, keep focused, and if you do take trades that you get emotionally triggered about, then make sure you manage your risk well and manage your emotions. Okay, thanks for watching, like and subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow. Hei a popo.